Today's Tips du Jour mailbag question comes to us from Michigan. Robert, I am considering converting my fluorescent bulbs and my shop lights to LED. Have you done this? And can you offer any advice on how to do it? Brittany in Michigan. Well, yes, Brittany, I have done that. I highly recommend it. There's some disadvantages to the traditional fluorescent bulbs. One of them is you need a starter or a ballast, and those sometimes go bad. And if they go bad, you have to troubleshoot what's going on. Then you have to find the correct ballast. You have to rewire the lamp to put it in. It's just a hassle. And I usually just throw those things away and buy a new one because I don't like the hassle. However, I've started converting all the fluorescent bulbs in my shop to LED. There's no hum, and you can get them a lot brighter. You don't have to worry about the ballast, the flickering, all that kind of stuff. So I have one here in my shop I'm going to rewire right now. Let me show you how I do it. So Brittany, here's a light fixture in my shop that I'm going to rewire from the traditional fluorescent to the LED bulbs. The first thing you need to discover is whether or not it's single-ended or double-ended bulbs. And you need to take the fixture apart to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove the old bulbs. Do that very carefully. Next, I'm going to remove these little clips here. And this allows me to remove the reflector from the fixture. And you have one of those clips at each end of the fixture. With the reflector out of the way, it exposes the wiring to the fixture. Now you can get in and see what's going on. So inside the fixture, you can see that we have a ballast. This is what we're trying to get rid of. These things go bad. And we have a black and a white wire that is wired to my cord. You have your positive, negative, going into the ballast. And then coming out of the ballast, I have a red wire going to one side of the fixture and two blue wires going to the other side of the fixture. And those are connected to what's known as tombstones, and those hold the light bulb in place. Since I have wires going to both tombstones on both ends of the fixture, that means that I need a double-ended bulb. Don't try and wire up a single-end bulb to a double bulb fixture. So I'm going to start by cutting the positive and negative, or the black and the white going into the ballast, getting rid of that. And then I'm going to cut the wires coming out the other side of the ballast. You're going to need to strip the end of each of these wires so that you have a little bit of wire exposed for the connection. You're also going to need to strip the positive and negative coming in. And with all of the wiring stripped and exposed, we can now make the connections again. So I'm going to take the blue wires, which go to the left side of the fixture, and hook it up to the black, which is the positive coming in. Twist those together, and then add a wire nut. Hold everything together there. I'm going to tuck that back into the fixture. Notice I've just left the ballast in place there. You don't have to remove it, but you can if you want to. I'm going to take the red wire, which goes to the other side of the fixture, and connect it to the white or the negative wire, and that's going to allow for continuity. And then once that's all hooked together, put that back into the fixture and replace the reflector shield. Now the LED lights don't need the reflector shield, but you got to cover up all the wiring and close the fixture up. So we go ahead and replace it. So here's my LED bulbs that I bought off the internet. And once again, it's very important to know if you need single-ended or double-ended bulbs before you order. I also like a lot of light in my shop, so I ordered the 6000K bulbs. Just pop the protective cover off the pins here on the ends, and then go ahead and install it into the tombstones on the fixture. And make sure that when you install it, the LED light bulb part is facing down, not up. And before you go to the trouble of hanging the fixture from the ceiling in your shop again, it's a good idea to test it. Make sure you got it all wired properly. So here we go. And what do you know? We have light. So Brittany in Michigan, thank you very much for your question. With the information I provided you here in this video, you should be able to rewire all of the fluorescent fixtures in your shop. However, with all this newfound light in your shop, you're going to be able to see all the mistakes. Happy building.